Hello everyone, welcome to episode 5 of Terra Talks. With it being Plastic Free July, today let us answer the question, what is plastic pollution? So, plastics are essentially synthetic or semi-synthetic polymers that are used to make a myriad of products from automobiles to bags to even food storage. They're used because they're lightweight and durable, they're super versatile, easy to make and really cheap. But there are two major drawbacks to plastic. Number one is that they're made of fossil fuels. Number two, if not incinerated or recycled, plastic doesn't really degrade in a natural setting. So plastic from as early as 1950s, like this honey jar, is still around. From 1950 to 2017, almost 9.2 billion tons of plastic was made, half of it being after 2004. But where does all this plastic waste come from? If we see a breakdown of all the industries that contribute to plastic waste, surprise, surprise, single-use plastic seems to form the majority. And what's more, when these plastics degrade naturally or are made in a smaller form to be used in creams and films, they form what we call microplastics, which make their way into the soil and in our bloodstream and stay there forever, causing many ill effects. And unfortunately, people from the lower economic strata suffer more from these ill effects because they live closer to landfills and consume more plastics because they are cheaper to them. That's why it is high time that we reduce all this plastic waste and act on this plastic pollution and pandemic to reduce all these ill effects that it has on our planet and its ecosystem. Welcome to Terra Talks episode 6. Today let us answer the question, what are the effects of plastic pollution? So far we know what plastic pollution is and how widespread it is, but what are its actual effects? Let us have a look. Plastic doesn't decompose as decomposition would do for organic matter, but it does degrade and break into smaller particles or microplastics, which we learned in the last episode. In the soil, chlorinated plastics release toxins which can even seep into groundwater, and on top of that, high plastic concentrations in the soil and water itself is toxic to plants, animals and marine organisms, as stated in this study published in the Chemosphere. Plastics also clog drains and sewers, thus increasing the occurrences of floods during monsoon. Floating pieces of plastics are mistaken for food by numerous animals, birds and fishes, and when they eat it and it fills up their stomachs, due to this they end up dying of starvation and poisoning, or they even become entangled in it. The latest report by Oceana says that in the past 15 years, about 1800 marine mammals have been entangled or choked on plastic, most of these species being endangered or threatened. Broken down microplastics in the soil and water, along with copious amount of plastics from packaging, perfumes and medical devices, has made its way into our body and bloodstream. This plastic can not only be toxic but can bring about so many health issues, from DNA damage to hormonal disruption, infertility, dermatitis and many others, as shown in this study published in Environment and Health. And this is all just the tip of the iceberg. You can check out all the links to these studies and much more about the ill effects of plastic in our blog given in the link below. Hello everyone, welcome to episode 7 of Terra Talks. In the last few weeks we learned a lot about plastic pollution and all its ill effects, and safe to say it is really bad. So this week let us answer the question, what can I do to reduce plastic pollution? To reduce the effects of plastic pollution, steps can be taken either on a systemic level or on an individual level. Today let us learn what can be done individually. As we saw in the previous few episodes, single-use plastics contribute massively to plastic pollution. Hence, reducing our use of single-use plastics and carrying our own cutlery, bottles, reusable tiffin, tote bags and such will help a lot. Even wrapping our food in eco-friendly snack bags or paper bags can help. When going out to get groceries, carry a tote bag or a paper bag, and if carrying a heavier produce, opt for a jute bag or even a tote bag. There are some stores that can give you rice and pulses in your own boxes as well. Just ask. Another very essential thing to do is to optimize waste management and segregate your waste properly into biodegradable and non-biodegradable, and make sure to give up paper, plastics and metals for recycling. You can even ask your local kabadi wala to do the same. And a very nifty thing to do is recycle or upcycle your old plastic items, like using plastic canisters as planters or using plastic bottles to make pen stands. Lastly, you can involve yourself in volunteering activities like cleaning rivers or planting trees or joining sustainable organizations like Sathi. So these are some of the biggest things you can do for the planet. Hello there, welcome to Terra Talks episode 8 as we conclude our Plastic Free July mini-series this week. Today, let us answer the question, what are the systemic changes needed to curb plastic pollution? On a systemic level, there is a need for laws and policies to ban single-use plastics, which almost 100 countries have already adopted. BPA, which is a type of plastic, is banned by the FDA for use in children's dishes and bottles because of its toxicity. But there needs to be a more comprehensive treaty and incentives that favor biodegradable and sustainable options. And that is already underway with the Global Plastics Treaty, which UN members are currently negotiating and developing a legally binding international agreement on plastics that will address the entire life cycle of plastics from design to production and disposal. This document is set to be released within next year, and this treaty will not only ensure that there are international laws and regulations regarding plastic production, recycling and management, but it also ensures that there is a just transition for workers involved in the plastics industry as well. Safer alternatives to plastics will be researched further and encouraged by the government. So keep an eye out for the last negotiating meeting by the International Negotiation Committee happening in Busan, South Korea this year in November. And definitely check out the link in the caption for our blog discussing everything about plastic pollution and its solution, including all the links from the previous weeks as well. What else do you want to learn about the environment? Let us know in the comments below. Do not forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified when the next episode drops. Bye!